Hello everybody and welcome into today's edition of One Nation Weather, and we're looking at a warm and stormy pattern setting up across central parts of the country for us here as we go throughout the rest of today and really into this weekend as well. Here's a look at your Friday setup. You can see, first of all, one thing I want you to notice here, there's a low pressure system spinning right here into portions of Kansas, and with that spin, we've got a lot of wind energy into portions of the Four Corners region and further eastward, which is why we do have that critical fire weather possibility from portions of southern Colorado, portions of New Mexico, as well as southeast Arizona. So we're keeping an eye on that zone right now for that critical fire threat, but really anywhere where it's dry and windy, we have to watch out for some of that brush to turn red with some of those flames. Unfortunately, maybe even some dry lightning, that would be a problem as well. But you can see most of our thunderstorm activity looks to be focused further east. Places like Dallas back further south from there, there's a risk of severe weather, as well as a secondary zone around another area of low pressure up here into portions of Nebraska. We've got that risk for some of that, so we've got to keep an eye on that. But I do want to go back and give you a look at what we had yesterday for your storm reports. You can see we did have one tornado report that was significant for you here in western portions of your Kansas zone. But then also notice over here we had a tornado report down into portions of southern California. That is quite interesting. And then we had some wind reports in many spots for you here from places like Idaho, Nevada, Utah, all the way over into Texas. Again, here's that look at today. Mixed precipitation swirling back into the west. And here we go with your high temperatures. You can see that's why there's mixed precipitation. Some of those blue colors in the mountainous zones will be in the 30s. But look, as you go further east, basically go Denver eastward, you're looking at temperatures in the 70s and 80s. Temperatures nearing 100 into portions of central Texas, portions of Oklahoma, at least getting into the 90s as well. Everybody else at least a little bit more tame with 70s and 80s from the southeast all the way on up to that northern tier of the country. And again, this is why the warmth is in place, because it's allowing for the storminess with all these low pressure systems around. So first of all, remnant energy from the storms yesterday is pushing east, giving a level 1 threat right along the Gulf Coast for you there. We also have a level 2 threat of severe weather, southern Oklahoma back to that Mexico border. And then also notice into portions of western Nebraska, some storms will dive from the northwest to the southeast here. Those storms could be capable of producing very large hail. Tornadoes are not a major threat out of any of these zones, just like yesterday, but we are looking at the potential for maybe one or two within each of these green and yellow zones. And then as we go into your evening hours of today, I think the large hail threat of 2-inch diameter hail, as well as that 60 to 70 mile per hour wind field, is going to be the primary threat. Again, remnant energy moving eastward for you here from those storms earlier in the night and from yesterday. You can see a little bit of energy into portions of the plains, but in general we look to stay fairly tame through around 3 o'clock central. But notice what we get around 6. We get a few of these storms to bubble on up in Texas. Today will not be a huge day for storms, but the ones that do get going, again, gusty winds, hail, and maybe an isolated tornado. Notice we also get some activity to get going into portions of your Nebraska zone for you there, and then those storms really bubble on up around 9 p.m. and they'll be pushing south and east as we go into the midnight hours of tonight, and that energy will continue to progress south and eastward as we go into the day tomorrow. I'll give you a look at that in a minute, and you can see here we go, temperatures in the 90s once again in many parts of the country tomorrow, even into portions of Missouri. We're going to be hitting the 90s, portions of southern Mississippi getting near 90 degrees. So Jackson, you might be breaking out the short sleeves, the shorts, the sunscreen for the day tomorrow. It is going to be quite the day, and you can see, look at this, a level 1 risk for some of that severe weather goes from portions of south central Texas, and then a secondary zone for some level 2 risk for you here gets going into portions of southern Iowa, portions of northeast Missouri, and portions of western Illinois. We'll keep you posted on that. But for now, subscribe, hit the like button. Special thanks to Tropical Tidbits and Pivotal Weather. Have a great day, everyone.